Good morning. Welcome to the Conference Center. We're very honored by your presence here with us to participate in this press preview. I'm Steve Lindsley, the executive producer of the show that you'll be learning about this morning. First order of business, it's my great privilege to introduce to you Elder Robert D. Hales of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Elder Hales will be giving our official announcement this morning. Elder Hales.
It's a pleasure to be with you this morning as media and invited guests. Today I'm pleased to announce the Light of the World, a celebration of life, the spirit of man, the glory of God. It's a multimedia production which is theatrical in nature and produced by a group of remarkable volunteers of creative people of both talent and of desire. It's a sincere effort on our part to try and have a program during the 2002 Olympics which will have a spirit of the Olympics. This production will celebrate life and our fervent belief that there is a universal light within each individual that inspires us to achieve and against all odds accomplish the seemingly impossible in our lives. In the wake of last week's tragic events in New York and surrounding areas, Washington and Pennsylvania, we believe this light has burned even more brightly and intensely in the hearts and minds of Americans and others throughout the world. We've seen acts of bravery and courage, compassion, that cause us to pause and reflect on the sanctity of life. It is this light, which reflects the glory of God and the spirit of mankind, that we wish to celebrate with the world. In the fabric of this story, we will have some Olympic heroes spoken of. My favorite is John Stephen Akhwari of Tanzania, Mexico City Olympics, 1968, related by Bud Greenspan. He was the last runner in the Olympics to enter the stadium. He was 2 or 3 hours after the conclusion. There was no chance of winning, and into the stadium came John Stephen Akhwari of Tanzania. His leg was bloody and bandaged. He was dehydrated. He was disoriented. Wincing with pain at every step, he pressed on, and the thousands who were there in a few minutes while they were silent, began a slow clapping sound. Akhwari made his painful way around the track and cheering grew louder. The trek around the track seemed interminable, but finally he hobbled across the finish and the crowd roared as if he were the winner. It is this story of this indomitable spirit that one columnist in his lead story said the following: "Today we've seen a young African runner who symbolizes the finest in human spirit, a performance that gives true meaning of sport, a performance that lifts sport out of the category of grown men playing a game, a performance that gives meaning to the word courage. All honor to John Philip Akhwari of Tanzania." Afterward, Akhwari asked why he had endured the pain, why, since there was no chance of winning, he did not retire from the race. Akhwari appeared perplexed at the question, then simply said, "I don't think you understand. My country did not send me to Mexico City to start the race. It sent me to finish the race." This is the story of life, your life and my life, an indomitable spirit to meet life's challenges and endure to the end, to play with what you have left. An inspiration in each of our lives to endure, overcome, and achieve life's purposes. We were not sent to earth just to be born, but to achieve, to serve, to lift others. It is with this spirit and with the Olympic spirit that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is privileged to join others in the community in contributing to the historic moment for our state. It is our hope that the light of the world, a celebration of life, spirit of man and glory to God, will be a positive event and will be one which can lift us to not only understand the light within, but also the source of that light, of which we'd like to portray to you today. I now give you David Warner and Randy Booth, co-directors. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Randy Booth. This is David Warner. We've had the privilege over the last 3.5 years of dreaming and planning and organizing this event, and we're delighted today to be able to share some of this experience with you, some of our plans, some of our dreams. Imagine with me, if you will, on a winter's night about 4.5 months from now, our guests will arrive in the lobbies, and as they enter the lobby areas, in 15 locations on all 3 levels, you will be greeted by internationally clad singers and dancers and musicians welcoming the world to Salt Lake City. It will be very exciting as you now enter the auditorium and take your seat to find that a strolling balalaika player or a group playing Bolivian panpipes, perhaps an accordion playing yodeler will greet them in the aisles. A family mariachi band will stroll up on the second balcony, and we'll discover that we are celebrating life in the very way that people all over the globe celebrate life.
Now, as our invited guests, you settle into your seats and the lights dim, and this vast space is transformed into the universe with stars, galaxies, those beautiful nebula taken by the Hubble telescope. This is what the Conference Center auditorium becomes. And as the lights dim, you recognize that this arrangement, the rostrum and the choir seats, are gone. An enormous translucent curtain which runs the full height of the auditorium here parts, revealing an enormous dome. This dome spans the full width of the Conference Center auditorium and reaches up to where you see the organ console and back down behind the pipes, and then reaches out into the audience, the lip of which is where the camera pylons are here. So this is no ordinary stage set seen in the frame of a proscenium. This really is a great shape which rises up out of the audience, and it's an ideal shape for telling our story. It's the canvas on which the story of life is told. It's a representation of the globe, of the earth. Now, in this space, it's absolutely essential that we use image magnification in order to bring our 20,000 members of the audience face to face with the performers. And we'll do that with projections on giant sails or moving screens. But we won't use screens alone. We'll also use the globe. And it will become the blank page on which we'll write about the story of every human life.
The production begins with a depiction of the miracle of birth. A shaft of light at center comes down, a child is born, and we rejoice together as families all over the earth lift their children, their newborns, for the viewing of all to see. Each birth is heralded with exuberant folk dances from Africa, from Italy, from China, from South America. And the celebration concludes with the Tabernacle Choir and the orchestra at Temple Square raising the roof with a hymn to the nations.
These little international children begin to grow and develop and discover their gifts, and the light within them, the light they brought with them, begins to shine ever more brightly. And they participate in a joyful dance of discovery. They run, ride bicycles, even fly downstage to discover a book of life. This enormous prop becomes something of a symbol of the whole production. And they use ropes and ladders to scale this large volume as if climbing atop the giant sleeping Gulliver. Once on top, the book is transformed into a ship, which, by means of their imagination, they use to sail into their own futures. And then in a very magical moment, they open the pages of this book and begin to sense something of the story of their own lives. One young boy, perhaps the African, John Stephen Aquari, discovers that he loves to run. And as he sings about this great love in his life, We see projected behind him images of a Tanzanian running in the Mexico City Games, a foretaste of what is to come, not just for Mr. Aquari, but for all of us. No matter where we are, even as children, there are great things, remarkable things that await us.
One boy looks to the example of his pioneer ancestors for inspiration in his life. A sweeping production number fills the stage with 50 couples of dancers in beautiful costumes. Giant 8-foot, 6-foot, 4-foot wheels go rolling across the stage, and the epic journey of the Mormon pioneers takes us to stories of faith, of courage, of endurance. The production continues, and we meet each of these other international children whose stories have begun as we open the Book of Life. Each has been a competitor in the games. Each has discovered in their lives that they can achieve a victory if they will implement in their lives those same values so clearly depicted and emulated by our pioneer ancestors. Faith to face an unknown future, courage to face adversity, and endurance to the end.
Well, the production ends much like it began. The universe, those beautiful images which remind us there is order and there is a remarkable spirit all around us. And then a presence of light, but it's not a child coming down. Now it's the family of man gathering and looking up. Cast members stream down the aisles up onto the dome and sing a stirring final anthem. The 1,500 members of the cast and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, they have celebrated the light of life. It's true. Writers in antiquity called this light of life the spirit of man, and it's a spirit that burns so very brightly during the games as athletes overcome their own challenges to participate. It's also a spirit that we feel when people of diverse backgrounds and differing ideologies come together and find what it is that they share, what it is that makes us one as a human family. This spirit is, in fact, the glory of God. And it's our challenge, our artistic challenge as directors, to represent the light of life as being a reflection of that light that comes from a higher power, the light of the world. Now it's our privilege to share with you a video presentation which chronicles some of the work we've done to date. It's a wonderful thing to work with talented people and to join in a spirit of collaboration. It's that very spirit that we hope will be felt in the production. Join us here with the screen.
Could you ask for a huger opportunity of a lifetime?
I think that everybody will have their own wow experience.
I've never done anything like this before.
As visitors from around the world prepare to come to Salt Lake City this February, producers, designers, and performers from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are making plans to welcome them. They are busy putting together a production full of music, dance, and a few surprises.
There will be incredible groups of international dancers and balalaika players, koto players, hosts and hostesses from many different nations of the world in full, authentic, traditional costuming.
The performance is called Light of the World, a production on a grand scale with something for everyone.
We're going to have a show that will speak to a wide range of ages, from a little child who will delight in the incredible dances to an older person who's going to sit there and enjoy the music and feel the sense of the story.
The stage will be unique, constructed to fit the large main hall in the church's conference center.
It will look like it's all at the same depth.
Costumes are being designed and created to represent cultures from around the world. Actors will even be flying, soaring high above the audience in an aerial ballet.
It's dancing and it's flying. We have the chance, I think, to combine gymnastics in the air in a way that uses the finesse and the aesthetics of dance.
And original music is being composed to tie the entire production together. Light of the World is poised to be a production unlike any other. One organizers hope will touch the thousands of people who will fill this hall in February.
There's no question that people who come to Light of the World are going to walk away saying, I have never seen anything like this in my whole life.
Well, as you can see, producing Light of the World is a challenging job that simply wouldn't happen without the creative talents of many, many people. One such individual is our lighting designer, John Featherstone. When it comes to lighting design, John, simply put, is one of the best in the business. And we've flown him in from Chicago to share with us his unique perspective on light, which, as you can tell, is a key theme for the production. After John's presentation, we welcome Janet Swenson to speak to us. She will give us a sneak peek at some of over the 1,500 outfits being designed and created to costume the world for this production. John?
Good morning. When I was invited to participate in the production of Light of the World, I accepted with a mix of great pride and great humility. Elder Hales asked me to come and give some insight into the role lighting will play in this creation. We felt that rather than focusing on the technology we will be using or simply showing you lighting fixtures out of context, it might be more appropriate and hopefully more enlightening and interesting to give an insight into the creative process. Light touches us all. It is one of the most primal of elements. Light can transform. Light has great power to convey emotions, to suggest feelings such as reflection, power, to convey feelings such as feelings of cold, solitude, and majesty. But why does light touch us so? I believe it is because light touches that which burns within us all. We are all connected by and connected to this light. On a deep level, we all understand that light, and the light in all of us, is a reflection of a higher power. But how are we going to bring this feeling to Light of the World? Light of the World is a celebration, and the way we will celebrate is to relate a number of stories. These stories, these fragments of greatness, these examples of how the light of a higher power is in us all are the key. These stories touch one as deeply in a room of 10 as they will in this room for 20,000. Every time I read the script, it still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. But to tell these stories engagingly, we need to transport the audience to a different place and time, bring them with us on a journey. To do this, we will construct the engaging, evocative, yet abstract scenic tableau which you have seen. Upon this canvas, we will layer lighting and projection of both static and moving images. We will use this blend of lighting and projection to transform and to transport. We will create environments, settings, context and mood, virtual scenery, if you will. We will use cutting-edge technology to effect these changes. As we bring the audience with us on a journey to show them examples of the spirit of man and the glory of God, we will need to set many, many different scenes. Thus, we will need a lighting system with great versatility. We will use computer-controlled lighting fixtures that give us an almost infinite degree of control. We will have the ability to manipulate the color, the position, the shape, and the texture of light, fixture by fixture. We will be able to use the same fixtures in multiple ways to create environments in which to place our wonderful cast. But lighting has one more part to play, and a very significant piece in the tapestry we are weaving. The source of all light is from above and has been used by artists throughout the ages to represent the influence of a higher power. As a lighting designer, this is a truly humbling responsibility. I have always been in awe of the work he does with just one light. We will use light that has many of the qualities of sunlight. It will be brilliant, crisp, direct, and inspiring, yet also ethereal. We will use radiant shafts of light to show the wonder of God's creation and the light that shines in each of us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet Swenson, and I'm fondly known around here as that crazed costume lady. One of my main jobs as the coordinating costume designer for Light of the World is to try and express, both through color and through clothing, the stories that John just talked to you about. Steve said a little earlier that we're designing the world, and it's felt like it, actually. My crew and I have been together for over a year, and we've been doing intensive research and constructing costumes and accessories for the 1,500 performers and the 100 cultures that we're trying to represent here. We brought a few examples of some of the costumes you'll be seeing in the show here today. The first section is from the international section of the show, and the second from the pioneer section. About 1/3 of the clothing in our production is either folk and festival costume or contemporary clothing from around the world. And so my crew and I have enlisted help from our local cultural groups. In fact, we're still enlisting help, if you want to know the truth, and from international touring groups as well, so that we get a good, authentic look to what we're doing. Our first performer who's coming out is Ben Krasminski. He's representing our Native American friends. He's wearing a costume that's done in the grass dance. It imitates the tall, flowing sweetgrass of the prairie, and that sweetgrass symbolizes the balance between man and nature. Thanks, Ben. Here's Marin Leggett. She's wearing an Irish costume, a folk costume, and you commonly see this one done when they're doing soft shoe dancing. Thanks, Marin. Oh, here comes Adam Lee. Now, Adam Lee is representing Fiji today. His costume's made of the traditional tapa cloth, and it's usually worn by royalty or a chieftain. I think he's definitely a chief. I think I would definitely follow him. Here comes beautiful Cynthia Sanchez. Cynthia is wearing a Jalisco dress, one of the 12 beautiful, bright Jalisco dresses that we'll have. Usually see these at fiestas. You might be interested to know that each of these dresses has over 30 yards of fabric and over 100 yards of ribbon. Here comes Candace Knox. Candace is wearing contemporary African costume that we bought from Africana Arts and Crafts. The costumes in this section of the show kind of bridge the gap between the historical and the modern. Thanks, Candace. The last person in our international section is Candida Nichols. I asked Candida to come today because she is the assistant costume designer in charge of the international section. So if you do your math, it means she's in charge of between 500 and 600 costumes that have to be done in the next little while. She's wearing a hand-embroidered costume from Central Poland. Thanks. The second group of costumes that we have is from the dance that celebrates the pioneers' entrance into the Salt Lake Valley. Now, here was a challenge. The ladies' dresses that they wore across the plains walked really well, but they didn't do that enthusiastic choreography that we've got going here. So we wanted to find a way to tie in the past and still make them dance beautifully. What we did is do an authentic style bodice for the top, but each of the girls has a full circle skirt that there are 50 separate quilt patterns that are from the pioneer time period. So each girl's dress is called by her quilt pattern. There's Sarah up there, Sarah Pfeiffer, and her quilt pattern is called the Martha Washington Star. We have other dresses called Jacob's Ladder and the Friendship Ring, and my favorite is the Contrary Wife. Oh, you might have noticed too in the video when the girls dance, in addition to giving their partners whiplash, their skirts look like the rolling of the wagon wheels as they go across the plain. Thanks. Oh, one more thing you might be interested to know. Costume designers tend to do little secret things that nobody ever knows about, so the audience will never see this, but you're in on the secret now. Each of the quilt squares on the skirt, if you look, there are little pieces of fabric that are printed with bees. That's because we're the Beehive State. Thanks.
Thank you, Janet. Powerful and inspiring music underscores much of the production. 5 anonymous award-winning LDS composers have been commissioned to work as a team to create the score for Light of the World. So we invite you to sit back and relax and enjoy a sampling of their work in a medley performed by members of the Tabernacle Choir, the International Children's Choir, and local artists.
shine from your haloed face. Reach past the stars, reach with your heart. Keep close to heaven wherever you are. All through your life, carry this light. You shine on me tonight.
Read me one more story, take me by the hand. Book of life, I'm waiting, tell me who I am. Turn the page and faster, line by line I grow. Each new word I'm stronger, watch me, here I go. I will run and run forever, I will climb the highest tree, I will swim the widest river, and find the strength inside of me.
Tales from a book are just words on the pages, pictures of places I'm longing to see, mysteries of life, worlds to discover, roads to travel, calling me. With my feet on this path and the wind at my back, I'll be free.
I hope it works.
Well, it had better, because I'm not sticking around here.
Sounds to me like you're trying to get away from something.
I am. Trapped in this town. Lost in the desert. No chance for adventure, no reason to dream. Freedom awaits beyond the horizon, where I'll find my destiny.
If you don't mind me saying so, no one ever found his destiny by running away.
They didn't.
No. A destiny is a destination, and you can't get there just by going anywhere. You have to find your path, and you never know where that will lead you. Take me, for example. I have a noble heritage. Chiefs, warriors, great and powerful hunters. Even so, that wasn't my path. My path was to go to college, get a degree. Did I know where that would take me? Did I know I'd be going halfway around the world? No. I just followed my path as best I could.
What is the way? Where is my path? How will I know? Who can I ask? And will I fly or will I fall? If I dare surrender all. Holy Father, I was born thy child, raised in heaven, tutored at thy side. Then thou gave me purpose in thy plan. But dear Father, I've forgotten who I am. All those memories hidden by a veil, while my weakness threatens me to fail. Still, dear Father, thou prepared thy Son. Faithful Jesus came to win my soul with love. To know again thy favor, to find it through my Savior. Loving Father, be with my side. I pray for thee to lift this light till my soul can do as thou hast planned. May I prove myself thy friend, and enduring to the end. Living Father, may I live with thee again.
Thank you so much. This concludes the formal part of our presentation, ladies and gentlemen. We would be delighted if our guests would like to assemble on the third floor. We have a brunch available for you, and we have hostesses over here that will show you the way. In the meantime, we are going to make available for the press, rather than try to do this in a single group, we're going to break it into a number of groups, and each of the people who you've heard from today will be available for individual interviews. And let me ask them to stand as I read their names so you can see them again. First, Steve Lindsley, who is our executive producer. Steve. David Warner and Randy Booth, the co-directors. John Featherston, our lighting director. Janelle Christensen, associate director. Jeanette Swenson, costume designer. Craig Jessup, the musical director of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Al Harrington, one of our talented performers, and Dallin Vale Bayless, another one of our gifted vocalists. All of these people will be available. You have the whole auditorium, members of the press, to arrange any setup that you'd like to do. They will all be available, in addition, of course, to Elder Robert D. Hales, and we'll stay as long as we need to for you to get what you need. I'm going to just make one more comment, and that is that the sale of tickets for this production begins on October the 9th, and details of that are found in your individual folders. Thank you so much for coming to this preview of Light of the World.